All right, and off we go. We've got Synchronized House starts. 10 arrows is the first chest of the Link's house. All right, so we're already seeing a divergence. Aaron's going to come over here and try to make his way over to Stumpy. Rywek is going to come down here. I believe he's trying to farm bombs. Oh, he gets his pull off. The pull's only, unfortunately, a single heart. AaronDobbe means, well, Aaron to actually find some bombs from Stumpy. So he's going to make his way back over, open up Hype Cave. Rywek's going to be not far behind him, grabbing his bombs and also making the same play. Not sure. Rywek might just choose a saving quit instead. All right, let's get it. Let's get our hypes in chat because here comes the Hype Cave. Piece of heart first off.
I made it just in time for Hype Cave.
Yes, you did, Phylon. We got 100 rupees, full heart container, 2 full heart containers, and a lamp.
Oh my goodness, I got here just in time.
You didn't miss the lamp, that's the important part.
I didn't miss the lamp, I also saw all the health, which means that thing I'm always terrified of happening in Inverted, that like forced 3-heart hammer blind. That's today.
Yeah, it could just be a forced 5-heart blind.
That's, 60% less terrible. I don't know how I got that number, but I'm going to stick with it.
Works for me. So Aaron's coming down here. We're going to get our Village of Outcast checks. 3 of those, followed by possible into Thieves Town. Half Magic's always a nice find.
Oh, wow.
And we got a map check, and that is, wow. Pendant Thieves, Pendant TR, Green Pendant Ice, 5/6 is Pod and Mire.
Well, that's going to make the Light World map check just a bit redundant.
Yeah, we already know now that all 3 Light World dungeons are going to be just straight normal vanilla, well, vanilla-ish crystals.
Something I never noticed before is the little sprite of Link that happens during the map check on Rywek's side. I actually think that's really cool that it's the Minish Cap from Minish Cap.
Yeah, definitely. Our sprite makers have been just going crazy with all the little changes and just the little things with all these new sprites, like the Minish Cap Link and other ones like that.
It's the little bits like that and Aaron's Space Invader that I really dig. So Pendant TT is, one of the most terrifying things to see as a runner. Unless it's inverted, in which case you're in there anyways, you might as well get all 4 items. This is probably the best time to see that happen.
Yeah, because it's an indication you may not need to actually kill blind, so you can just come in here, get some items, and just leave guilt-free. So following up on what I was saying about some of the inverted changes, for those of you who haven't seen a lot of inverted, it also is going to flip around some of our requirements as Aaron gets the big key out of the ambush chest. Mitts are no longer required. Book is now going to be hard required because it's needed for desert access. Mitts only lock now 1 location of the game, being King's Tomb, and the... Ooh, Rywek taking an unfortunate death. Also, the flute is only usable in the Dark World, but still has to be activated in the Light World.
Yes, it can do a couple things for you. It can give you Mire access if you can't mirror from the Light World. It can also get you on Death Mountain, but Aaron doesn't need the flute for that because he just picked up the Power Glove, and Rywek's going to do so soon too.
Yeah, and with the lamp in hand, that's going to be completely in logic and give them access up to Death Mountain. Now, Death Mountain's another interesting portion, mostly because that the bumper cave's been exchanged with the actual ascent to Death Mountain. This means that the old man is in the dark world, but you still have to go through the portal and return him to the light world.
That's a long ways to walk. I don't want to say it's unpleasant or frightening, because you know your opponent's doing it too. It's just a bit tedious to run through.
No, what I want to ask is, when you're coming this way and inverted, you make those like long jumps down, and the old man follows you. How does he, like, you're the hero of Hyrule, how does he not, like, blow his old man knees out, taking, like, those 150-foot falls?
Well, he used to be an adventurer like you until he took a jump too far to the knee.
No.
I'm sorry.
We got a joke hint and thieves. Yeah, the power gloves were in the vanilla big key chest and thieves here.
All right, now that I've stopped laughing at my own terrible joke, what else can we expect to see up here in Thieves Town?
Well, probably not a lot. It looks like Aaron's going to at least go ahead and crack the floor here. So the only problem is that while they can get all of this done, we're quickly running out of the ability to do anything in here because we can't kill blind. We don't have any weapons that will actually damage blind.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that might just force a double dip. We haven't seen the compass yet. We haven't seen the small key yet, so it's entirely possible small key locks itself, Maiden's holding a real item, and the compass is just on blind. I'm sure that's what the runners are kind of hoping happens here.
Oh yeah, in non-green pendant Thieves Town, you want to see not the compass and not the small key.
Or, maybe we just get the hammer, and I guess if we get the hammer, we don't need to fight the boss. Hammer's great anyways, though.
Interesting thing, though. Even if you can't kill blind, do you A, take blind up to the boss room so you can just come back short later? Or do you not take blind with you so you can keep the scripted fight?
I think you do what Aaron's doing here. You take blind back because you know that's an item. And yeah, it sucks to go back into Thieves Town for a single item, but it sucks a lot less when the fight is already set up. It's like a 30-second run once you're in the dungeon, which is not a huge time sink.
Yeah.
And, at this point, I assume you're not going to be required to do this fight early on. It becomes a later on check. And so when you do come back, you'll have more than 5 or 6 hearts, and that's enough to deal with the fight, even suboptimally.
Yeah, that's if we even need to come back and kill blind. We know blind has an item, but blind is also holding a pendant, so it's suboptimal.
Yeah, and I like how Rywek got himself down to a single heart before the fight, and then just is able to, instead of hitting blind on the first frame, get hit by blind on the first frame.
Yeah, but even so, it's green mail blind. You hug for 2 hearts and just die real quick.
Oh, yeah. So the other reason it's good these runners have some health is now Death Mountain's open. And the old man's easy to get home. But those 2 chests in Super Bunny Cave are also accessible. And that 5th heart makes a difference on the Lionels, if I recall their damage table correctly.
Yeah, I think it's 4 against green, so that'll allow them to take 1 hit from the Lionels. Another strat I've seen happen a couple times in Inverted is that people will intentionally damage themselves with bombs to get across, and to give them some iframes to get away from the Lionels. Yeah,
that's a clutch strategy if it comes down to it. Aaron did very well with his rupee drops in the digging game. Rywek's not doing too bad either. Single shield. It's a thing.
Now, one problem that we do have is even though we have 5 hearts, we have an unofficial mini-boss on the way up to just get into the cave to get the old man, and that's the double murder dactyls coming right below it.
Yeah. I feel qualified to speak on this since I've died to this mini-boss several times. You just have to come in from the top, hit that one with the sign. Aaron? Aaron?
Serpentine! Serpentine!
And as long as you stay high enough, that lower one will not come after you. The big worry with the lower one is that when you're dodging the upper one, you accidentally proc that lower one, and he just hunts you down too, and you can't do anything there.
Alright, so Rywek's gonna first do Skullwoods, get that out of the way.
Yeah, nothing too great yet. Small key, a compass, a big key so he can bomb jump, and hopefully actually get an item.
That's a risky bomb jump, though.
And he walked in through the front door. It's this Moldorm that's the real risk.
Aaron trying to get away from the ball before it talks to him.
That little ball is also a real mini-boss.
So the towel turns into a small key, huh?
Yeah. Why not?
And the old man's a drug dealer. No wonder he got lost in the dark world.
I'm never happy to see that mushroom in inverted.
Yeah, that's with the flute acting for the dark world instead of the light world, it is really a pain to get over the witch.
Ideally, you get the mirror early and the flippers, and you just do witch, Zora area, catfish all in one swoop. In practice, life never works out that nicely. All right, second try. Rywek has made it back to the vanilla big key room in Skull Woods. Gets 20 rupees for that. Waits for the Wallmaster. I think that's one of his 2 items.
Yeah. Oh, hook shot and spectacle.
That's a pretty useful item right here. Give me a Moon Pearl with that, and East Death Mountain Paradox Cave is wide open to us.
Yeah, that also opens up hookshot. So there'll be what, 4 more chests in there? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great point. All right, Rywek back at the big chest just gets a map for his effort.
Alright, now we get to play Dodge the Lionels.
Well, we didn't dodge it, but I think Aaron just got through. For a second, I thought he might do a hookshot iframe try there.
Yeah, and as we said, that 5 is important because they do 4 on green mail.
Okay, we get a bow and a bug net from Super Bunny Cave.
Can't complain with that. Bug net's out of the pool, can still be used for fairies. Aghanim even if you really are feeling like it. And, you know, bow is bow.
Bow is bow. I have a feeling pod's going to be accessible very, very soon. Ether for Turtle Rock.
Ether for Pendant Turtle Rock. So let's hope not to find Ether.
You know what? This is inverted, and Aaron's on the record as saying that Turtle Rock is one of his favorite dungeons in inverted. So I'm kind of hoping for access into Turtle Rock.
Hammer.
Alternatively, let's just have full clear access to pod.
Yeah, that works too. Now, they can get into Turtle Rock. Because now in Inverted, we have 3 different access points. Silvers. Okay, so I guess we're not worrying about weapons.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I don't think we can get into Turtle Rock right now, can we? We still need the mirror to do so. Like, we need to be in the light world and then mirror back.
Right. We need to mirror back from the light world.
But I think Aaron's set his mind and probably on the right thing here. Just saying, okay, the game has, on a silver platter, handed me the ability to fully clear Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, you can do a
Might as well.
Yeah, you can do full pod Eastern here. Aaron's going to go ahead and check these last 2 locations over here, trying to find the Moon Pearl. Would be my assumption, or any item.
Yeah, Moon Pearl shows up and suddenly Eastern Palace is clearable through a little bit of logic. We do know it's a required crystal. But who knows? That dang Moon Pearl might just be hiding in pod.
Yeah, at this point, you either go up to Catfish or you full clear pod, and I think full clear pod is going to be on the platter here.
All right, Rywek is going to head up Death Mountain as well. Hopefully he can get a 5th heart from those bushes surrounding the Dark World portal. Or I should say Light World portal. I think it's a 50-50 chance of those bushes dropping things.
I believe so. There's a super high chance on these. Yeah, right there's the heart. So he can go ahead and tank 1 hit as well.
And Rywek only gets hit by a beam and uses those iframes to get through with 3 hearts. I guess it doesn't really matter how many he's holding since he's through, and he doesn't do much else here. But still nicely done.
Yeah, he's going to pick up my first pod starter kit. So let's see what the logic said here. Well, there's a key, so it's not technically bow locked, but you needed to be up there anyway, in pretty much the same location to get access in the first place. Oh, Rywek unfortunately taking the same hole as Aaron took trying to get those silvers.
I think that's a good indicator that these runners are evenly matched, is that they've made the same, similar, slightly strange fall in Hookshot Cave there.
Yeah, everybody gets trolled by that Bari. The only thing worse than that is when the Baris in here on Randomizer are replaced with dead rocks.
Ugh. That's actually my nightmare.
Key for key in the vanilla big key chest and pod.
Keys, 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 more keys. Soon enough, Aaron's going to come upon an item, presumably.
All right, Aaron with a beautiful hint that West Swamp is off the table.
Fantastic news. Given what we've seen from Swamp Palace this tournament, probably not enough to rule out Swamp for these runners.
Given what we've seen from Swamp Palace today, not enough to rule out Swamp Palace.
Exactly. But hey, if you can eliminate the left side, that is worth doing.
Alright, so Rywek's right behind Aaron here, gonna make the play over and find items eventually, like the Moon Pearl.
Woohoo! So I feel like Aaron is very, very slightly ahead here along the linear path, just because he's in pod, he's getting the Moon Pearl first. He'll probably finish the dungeon first at this rate. And that'll hold up until they get the Fire Rod, and Aaron ends up going back to Skull Woods. He'll probably sink about that same amount of time into the dungeon that Rywek did. So 20 minutes in, I'd say these runners are pretty close to each other.
Yeah, there's only... Aaron will probably be a little bit at an advantage on this clear, if only because he'll probably have maybe the cane and not have to deal with the extra running around that Rywek did getting to the big chest.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cane would help with that. If he has boots, it makes that bomb jump to the big chest slightly faster. And Aaron's taking the chance here to stock up as much as he can on rupees, presumably saving up for Zora, although Bottle Vendor did just become available as well.
Yeah. Alright, so we should have pretty much almost all value from here on. Well, relatively speaking.
Hey, rupees are great. At some point we're going to have to do Zora and Bottle Vendor.
Yeah, we're still down to needing 600.
Now we'll see what Aaron does with his health in the Dark Maze here. He doesn't have the mirror, so I expect he'll aim for a Death Warp. I always wonder how close a runner's going to play it, how much damage they want to take before opening the last chest.
Well, he wants to play it a little safe because he hammered that guy down.
Oh, and a piece of heart from the chest refills his health.
That's okay, he'll like open the mirror. Or bombs. I tried.
I was so hoping that would work. Your effort is noted.
Alright, so it looks like Aaron's just going to go ahead and walk out.
Yeah, you know, fair enough. That'll work. See him go back and forth a bit, deciding which route he's going to take. It's a bit inconvenient to go this way when you don't have the boots, but he can make this work.
Yeah, at this point, a Death Warp, when you're already that invested in with that many hearts, would have been 6 one, half dozen the other on which way would have been faster.
Oh, nice bomb throw by Rywek to just dodge all those hard hat beetles at once. That was some really clever movement.
Yeah, that's one of those rooms where if you have to like actually play with the crystal switch, can take just a deceptive amount of time because those beetles will just play you so hard.
Intuitively, you might think, oh, I'll just use the hookshot to hit that switch. And then you hookshot, and as soon as you become hittable again, the beetles just knock you everywhere.
Alright, so Rywek's not very far behind here. He's just got to come back here, clean up these last 3 chests, and then he'll be right down behind Aaron. Probably no more, probably about 45 seconds, I'd say. Maybe a minute?
Well, he's still got to do Dark Maze and come back out of it, so we'll see.
Depends on if he decides to take the Death Warp, because I don't think he's going to fill up his container like Aaron did here.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he's gained a bit of time. Did he perhaps skip the vanilla big key chest? Was he able to rule that out?
I think he may have. No, actually, I remember him taking the drop down.
Well, there goes my theory.
Alright, so Aaron's going to come in here, drop 17 hits on a mass to break, and then 1 silver arrow right to the crystal.
Ooh, Aaron taking 2 walks into Helmasaur. He's down to his last health here. But all you need is 1 shot with a silver. And with that, only 25 minutes into this seed, Aaron has picked up the first crystal of his race.
Indeed, and he's probably going to follow it up pretty quick with the second one, I'd say, because I can't help but think that the play is going to be take the portal and go clear Eastern.
Yeah, you might as well do that here, and then you can do almost the reverse or the inverse of what you do in normal play. You beat Eastern, you go to Sahaswala, then you head down to South Shore, all kind of in one little trip.
Yeah, you really aren't going to miss out on much if you go that route. The only thing you will miss out on is a very rarely checked hint, usually only in inverted mode, that's in the Dark World shopping mall.
Oh yes, that nice one in the cave full of spikes. Alright, let's see how Rywek handles the turtle room here. You know what? That's a pretty clean turtle room. There were a couple hits there where he managed to take out turtles and flip the next set to be vulnerable. That's actually pretty tricky to manipulate. Nicely done.
Yeah, that's really smooth. Better than what I usually have to do swordless in there involving bombs, but you know, these runners are definitely up on top of the game here.
You know, for a second I thought this was actually a swordless seed because of what we've been seeing. But then I looked at those icons and I realized, no, Aaron's actually got a sword available to him right now. It's just a bit out of the way. I don't blame him for not rushing the Uncle Sword. Rywek also down to 2 hearts here. Again, any hit he takes is going to do him in. The mask is off, the arrow is in. Good fight overall.
Yeah, hammer only on that with no way to really extend the hitbox via the sword like you would normally do makes that fight a little risky on low hearts.
Yeah, it's only about 2 extra pixels you get, but those pixels make a lot of difference. Okay, and Aaron uses the hint to find out that Graveyard Ledge is just some arrows. Nice little thing to eliminate there. And before we even get to Kakariko, there's a bottle in the big chest of Eastern.
Yeah, it's going to put sick hit on the table, and it's a good backup to have as well, you know, having that extra health if you need it.
Looks like Rywek is making that same play to head to Light World. I like that little bit of flair, that dodge he did on the Murdered Dactyl.
Yeah, just playing that keep away game, managing not to take that nasty 3-heart hit.
All right, Aaron's got the big key. iframe anti-fairy skip is what I guess we're calling it. Gets 3 bombs for his trouble. Not what he needs right now.
Alright, he's going to be coming into the back here. Thankfully, silver arrows and plus, lamp. This is going to be just nothing.
Pew, pew, pew.
I was going to say, Aaron took the first rupee room. I wouldn't be surprised if he took the second one. So this is going to add 90.
So I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, he's very focused on getting to 500 rupees. I wonder if that mushroom he picked up is enticing him, if it's got him interested and he wants to go there as soon as possible. And if he is going to commit to that, I can see why he wants to have Zora money while he's kind of in the area.
Yeah, because then he'll do South Shore around, probably go to Ice Rod, come out of Ice Rod and Fake Flipper. Especially since he's got the Moon Pearl. Now, does that work in Inverted still? Or does the Changing of the Worlds mess that up?
I believe it still works in Inverted because the game checks if you've got the Moon Pearl or not when you come out of the cave. And if you have the Moon Pearl, it lets you start walking on water, which means you can go back into the cave and open the chests.
Alright, so Silver Arrows, Armos, blink and you miss it.
Sorry, I blinked.
Yep, and it's gone. Alright, now another thing that Aaron hasn't checked yet, that I'm sure Rywek will check as soon as he comes out of here, is going to be the coat closet for Shasrala.
The coat closet? Are we going to see a magic cape in here? A blue mail?
Maybe.
I hope so, because it doesn't make sense to put a book in your closet.
Nah, it's just the cash closet. It's the vault today.
Oh, that works. Well, good news for both the runners. They will now have Zora money. All right, where is Aaron headed? Is he going to Uncle? He is.
Mm-hmm. He wants his sword, and he wants it now.
It's interesting. That path he took, that rock he lifted, is something I think we never saw happen until Inverted mode came out. And now that we see the paths that exist in Inverted, it is a sensible play, and it's a nice shortcut you can make. But it's the kind of screen that we just never see because of the constraints of normal play.
Yeah, it's one of those routes you never ever take and you never think about. It's like, oh, was that there in vanilla? Is that always been there? It's just something you never ever have a reason to do.
And Aaron takes that sword and is finished with the light world down below for the moment. He is back up on Death Mountain.
He wants to do East Light World Death Mountain and he'll come back up around to Hera.
Oh, that is a nice loop.
Yeah, he's going to take care of all of Paradox, do Hera, come back around for Spiral. And if he finds a mirror, maybe we'll see some Turtle Rock shenanigans.
I hope he finds the mirror. I want to see some Turtle Rock shenanigans. And Rywek also, of course, cleaned up that Armos fight very nicely. Gets his second crystal as well. The question is, I assume he's going to get a sword here. Do we then see a big divergence from these runners, or do they keep on the same path?
This is where the choice is going to be. At this point, like we've been talking about, the choice here is, do you do south? Never mind. There's a saving quit.
No sword for Rywek yet.
He saves and quits to his house, so he might just be shortcutting a little bit and coming down here through this direction. So he looks like he is going to do the South Shore play, but he's not worried about the sword right now.
Well, Paradox Cave so far is a lot of bombs, a lot of arrows, a little bit of money. Not much value.
Yeah, definitely a lot of junk in Paradox here, so we gotta hope that maybe we'll get a little bit of something out of Hera as Rywek finds Bombos inside the dam. Alright, you're about to come across one of your other inverted changes. Hyrule Public Works has actually managed to build a bridge. The island is no longer completely floating.
Let's just walk over to that heart container, pick it up.
And Rywek's going to do the same for the submerged one. So while Rywek's going to get more overall checks, Aaron, maybe importantly, is going to get at least 2 hints in here. And not to mention whatever 2 items he's going to find as well.
And, what's that thing? A crystal, which does come in handy.
Yeah, I think you need 7 of them. That helps out during the run.
That is what I've been told. Oh, Rywek also in 20 rupee land, but then he gets the fire rod and the book.
Finds him a rod, finds him a book, he's now a wizard. More importantly, he has half magic, so he's going to be able to go crazy with that thing.
That does have a ton of firepower. Is he headed over to Desert right now, just to see if he can complete it?
I think he is.
This makes a lot of sense. You just head over here while you're kind of in the area. You can check Bombos, you can do Agina's Cave, you can do Checkerboard Cave, and then you find out whether or not you're going to need the boots here.
And we just found out that Gary's lunchbox has a sword upgrade.
Oh. Now that's interesting. And I'm not sure if it's worth the time to go pick that up.
It just depends on what else you find. If you don't, if you're stuck on Master, yeah, it's definitely worth the time. But if you're on Tempered, skip it.
Yeah, I think it depends on how early we have access to that chest. If the mirror shows up right away, and we can go get that right now, maybe it's actually worth spending the time because of how much faster you can go with a better sword.
Rywek finds the 3rd sword upgrade in Checkerboard.
Maybe if we keep finding sword upgrades like that, it will never make sense to go get the purple chest.
Yeah, so it'll definitely make sense for Aaron because that'll be his Tempered, and it's one of those things. Tempered's just where you want to be. I mean, Fighter to Master, Tempered to Gold, but Master to Tempered's where it's at.
Yeah. It's what's weird is that calculation of how much time am I willing to spend, even though I understand, I might stumble upon another sword in the future. And because if you get that and it's your tempered sword, and then you end up getting gold sword shortly after, you've just wasted a lot of time.
I think if you've got the items. Yeah, I think if you got the items, you do it before going into Swamp anyway, because it's crystal.
That's a good point. That's a good
we're
point.
boots locked.
We are definitely boots locked. For all we know, they could be hiding in the Kakariko Tavern, though.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't see what was on the desert ledge, but I assume, since Rywek didn't go to pick it up, it must not have been very good.
I want to say it was a 50 pack of rupees.
Yeah, I want to say that too now. And Aaron gets the last item in Tower of Hera, just a piece of heart in the basement.
And he's going to walk himself out so he can go check Spiral. Rywek's now on his way to go pick up his Master Sword.
Aaron can do Spiral. He can also, since we're playing Inverted, do Mimic Cave.
Oh, absolutely. So he might end up having to make 2 laps around the other side here.
It does get a bit tiresome to keep climbing up Death Mountain in Inverted mode.
Yeah, Hyrule CrossFit has nothing on Inverted.
I think he's doing Mimic Cave first, just on the off chance the boots are here. You can do Spiral Cave that much faster.
Yeah, now Rywek's actually going to go ahead and do down to Zelda Cell at least.
Interesting. I can kind of see why he does this. If you end up getting a small key, you can walk all the way through Escape, come out the back end, and check Graveyard Ledge while you're in the area before you head to town. Oh, we know Graveyard Ledge isn't very good, but in Inverted, at least it's available.
Yeah.
But we didn't see a small key in that first chest, and due to key logic, it can't be in these 2 chests down here. So either it's going to be in the Dark Cross, or Rywek will have to get to the back of Escape through the actual back door.
But there's a mirror, so it just got made all the much easier.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, Escape's not a place you want to do anyway in open. And Inverted, it's definitely way, way down on the list.
Yeah, and that's why we saw Aaron save and quit after getting the sword from Uncle, because you don't want to spend your time doing that. Unfortunately, by leaving that area after he gets the sword from Uncle, he makes that area even less attractive to go back to.
Alright, so Aaron's coming down here probably for the South Shore play. He's going to go ahead and find his Bombos. He's going to head over to Mini Moldorm, which is cosplaying as Diagon Alley, pick up his Spellbook and his Fire Rod.
Did you say Diagon Alley?
Maybe.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Rywek gets to the Dark Cross, gets a map, realizes he can't go further, almost save and quits, and then says, hang on, I've got the mirror, I can do this the fast way.
Yeah, this is going to open up all kinds of checks. He's going to go ahead and head over toward CAC now. Because of Inverted, he can now actually complete the Blacksmith Chain and end up with a sword.
That's right. We've also got access to Misery Mire area, although who knows if we can get into the dungeon. And Rywek's going to skip out on the Graveyard Ledge at this point. We know it's nothing thanks to a hint Aaron got, but I think Rywek could still see it as an item.
Yeah, but he might think about coming back across that way later. He's going to pop out a Sanctuary up here and could cross that way headed toward turning in the Mushroom. But I can also very much see... Oh, wait, no, Samaria, never mind. Fake powder not quite on the table yet.
Oh no, I was wondering what possible use Cane of Samaria could have in the northern part of the light world. But yeah, fake powder would be one of it.
And unfortunately, Rywek's going to pass up that small key.
Good job counting on his chests. Saves about 4 or 5 seconds to not grab that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but every time you can skip that, that's time you're saving.
Full heart in Ice Rod Cave, so Rywek didn't miss out on much by skipping that. So Aaron hoofing it, I think this is going to be the fake flipper play.
Yeah, we saw him farming all those rupees. Zora was on his mind for a while.
I was wondering if Rywek was going to keep going. He might, after popping out here, he might take the second to complete the back of Skull now. Oh, look, flips.
Aaron sees powder on the Hylia Island, and will be back to grab it later, I expect. Oh! I thought he got hit by that fireball there.
Yeah, that was, that couldn't have been more than a pixel off.
One of the real challenges with playing with kind of non-standard sprites like that tile is understanding what your hitbox is, because it's larger than the image appears on screen.
There's the 4th sword upgrade.
Wow. We went quite a while without any swords, and they are just flooding to us now.
Ha. Heart container that he's not going to be able to pick up. Rywek will be able to if and when he comes over to this area.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even trying to make a pun about flooding.
And let's see what the ripoff is today. Yeah, that's pretty excessive.
Well, at least they have plenty of money left over. But,
yeah.
You know, Aaron's got to get over to Kakariko at some point. I think he's doing that now. But we know there's an item in the back of the tavern. Rywek's also picked up things like the Cane of Burna, which opens up Spike Cave. I feel like Aaron's up a crystal at this point, but being down the mirror is really going to put a damper on his play.
Yeah, it is. Alright, so first up's going to be Sick Kid. What are we going to have from the Sick Kid today? Well, he really needs to ask his parents for a raise in his allowance.
Look, Sick Kid gets paid by the number of chores he does. And when he's sick, he can't get out of bed, and he can't go pick up the boots from the tavern that Rywek just got. So how do you expect Sick Kid to do any chores and get any money?
Didn't you say that the boots could be in the back of the tavern?
It was an educated guess. I mean, it could have been a lot of things.
Blue Tunic. Is Rywek going to take it? Nope.
No, I think at this point, when you've already cleared the Dark World, you know you're not going to have to beat Aga, so you won't get the weird, hyper-powered Light World setting, and you got this many hearts, you just say, mail is not worth the time.
So Rywek is again going to head straight to Desert and clear it. Or I'm wrong, and he's going to go ahead and do Swamp instead.
You know what? Why not just do this on the way?
I mean, you can combo... Oh, man. If he happens to find a cane in here or in Desert, he can just combo Swamp into Desert straight into Mire, if he has access.
Oh, that would be a very cool play to do. That is the dream at this point.
Shovels and GT. Thanks.
You know what? That's, I mean, that's not a great hint. But if something else tells them about a unique item somewhere, knowing that the shovel isn't going to be that unique item might pay off.
Yeah, any knowledge is better than no knowledge.
It's a pretty remote edge case, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, it might not come into play, especially with Ice and its 3 hints being a pendant instead.
That's true.
Now, Aaron clearing out his Skull Woods, but he has the Fire Rod when he visits, so he's going to be able to get a full clear, including the second item, which is either on Moth or in the back chest.
And he's going to go straight to Moth, hoping that that's the item. This is kind of a medium difficulty fight he's going into. Ideally, you'd have Tempered, but when you've got Master Sword and half magic for your Fire Rod, it's not too challenging a fight. You just have to not get bodied by too many spikes.
Yeah, it all depends on how much Moth wants to hug the spike walls. Ice Rod and Swamp. That's one thing that can't troll you, but that's also one thing that makes TR possibly on the table that you don't want to see. Now,
give me that red cane.
Yeah, give me that red cane. Now, Rywek has the hint about Swamp being useless, I believe. I think that was the one inside of Spectacle.
I think it was either Spectacle or Pod, so I think either way he picked it up. And with 3 hearts left, Aaron gets through the fight, gets a heart piece for a refill.
And picks himself up his 4th crystal.
And Rywek says, okay, I got the big key here. Right when I'm still kind of close to the chest, he's going to go open that big chest now.
And avoids the glitch taking him back downstairs, too.
Yeah, nice work on that front. You do not want to get trapped in the stairs and accidentally sent back down. Alright, Aaron has completed Skull Woods, and so he's going to head to the Light World, finally do that Kakariko stuff, get his boots, but what did Rywek just find?
Those would be Titan Smiths.
Whew. You know, I suppose they're not really necessary in Inverted, as we said, but they do help with some of that mobility, particularly on Death Mountain.
You say that, and then we're going to find something stupid, like Canis Samaria and King's Tomb.
Well, now you ruined my surprise.
Well, speaking of surprises being ruined, we find out that the pet's just a little piece of love.
Yeah, at this point it was probably nothing too important, but it's good to eliminate that for sure.
Yeah, I think at this point the only possibility was Mire access medallion.
That's right, but, you know, Aaron's just picked up his flippers. He's going to get his boots shortly. Rywek's taken down Argus. We are making very steady progress through this seed. Both runners with 3 crystals completed, Aaron with a 4th. And what do we even need for go mode at this point? We need the Mire medallion, if it's not Bombos, and Samaria?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically nothing. Now, Aaron does still need that mirror from Escape, and that could trouble him for a while.
Yeah, and he's got places he can go now, so that could be a problem. He might get distracted and do Desert, and if there's something in Desert, like the cane, that could send him into Mire instead, and maybe even TR.
Well, the good news is, Aaron can't get into Mire. Not without the mirror or the flute, at least.
Good point.
The bad news is, if he stumbles upon Ether and Kane, he can absolutely walk into the front of Turtle Rock and potentially clear that whole dungeon. And of course, these runners both have the level 2 sword, but I think they are holding different swords. Rywek's got one from Checkerboard Cave, Aaron from the Waterfall Ferry, with that final sword being in the purple chest, that I think at this point neither runner's going to pick up.
Yeah, unless all of these dungeons strike out, I don't think that Blacksmith chain is getting completed.
I expect Aaron's going to take the book and the boots and head to Desert sooner rather than later, getting tempered. And with his flippers, Rywek will surely end up doing Waterfall Ferry before he gets the hint about Purple Chest, because that's all the way up in Tower of Hera.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens after the mirror from completing Desert, because a lot of this is going to hinge on what the second item in here is, and then it becomes a, do you do Zora area, or do you do East Death Mountain that he still hasn't done, and a Hera with its, like, 11 checks.
You know, that is all a powerful chain together. And Zora area is only really 4 checks. This is one of those interesting seeds because the runners were given so much early on. Hammer, bow, and silver arrows, fire rod relatively early, that I feel like execution-wise, the seeds kind of put them on easy mode, especially with the half magic. So it's not like I expect either runner to have particular trouble beating any part of this game. And a lot of the time, like we're going to see in the Landmo fight here, the runners are just going to one-cycle a lot of the bosses. So it's really going to come down to who can plan a more efficient road, as long as neither makes any execution mistakes.
Yeah, at this point, it's almost even, with one notable exception of Aaron still missing the mirror.
Yeah, you know, if Aaron had the mirror right now, I'd call this race pretty much completely tied. The absence of the mirror works against him a lot. And Rywek, with, as we expected, a very, very clean Landmo fight, gets his 4th crystal.
Alright, so Rywek's got the mirror out. It's time to check the Mire area.
Well, it's Bombos.
Yep, so that's accessible. All we really are looking for now is the Canis Samaria.
You know, I think if you're Rywek here, you just go into Mire. You hope, because it's 1 item more. you're going to have to hunt for the big key in the dungeon regardless. And that would be my case for going into Mire. Rywek disagrees with it, it looks like.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that the hint that eventually led to the boots was sitting in the room where you need boots. That's always fun.
Oh yeah, it's great to have the boots lock location, you know, guarding the hint the boots too.
Actually, looking back, that's why I kind of suspected that the boots would be in the tavern. Not that the hint logic is at all tied to where the tiles are. It's very much random. But I just had boots on my mind.
Yeah. There are certain things that do play a part in the hint pool. There will be a boots hint, so that could have very well been the boots hint.
Now, here's some good news about Turtle Rock. We might have to go in the laser bridge or the other midway entrances. There is no way we need either to open the front door. Because if you're opening the front door, you can't do anything without the Cane of Samaria. So that is 100% not required. That might cut down on our searching just a bit.
Yeah, the dungeon is clearable with the exception of the boss and the compass chest, and the fire rod lock side.
That's right. There's a ton of stuff available, but it all depends where the keys end up falling out.
Most specifically, the big key in part of this. Now, in most normal modes, you're going to see the big key in TR. It's on the fire rod lock side, but in inverted, it can be literally anywhere.
Now, Rywek opts. He doesn't want to mess around with fire rods in the mummy corridor. He's just going to bombos the whole thing. Puts you a bit behind on time, but ahead on magic compared to using the fire rod.
Yeah, that's going to save him a good 3 shots at least.
And hey, if that makes the boss fight go faster, I'm all for that. Aaron's got his landmo fight. 1, 2, 3, very clean.
It's like NMG, but better.
It's like NMG, but you don't have to mess around trying to land multiple hits per cycle. Oh, Rywek down to 1 heart, but he gets the moth out. So that is 5 crystals for each runner at this point.
Aaron's going to pick up his tempered sword. He's got his Cheeto. He is probably done. No purple chest in his future.
And no mirrors, so he's not into the mire area. And Rywek finds out that the pedestal is not useful today. He hasn't done the save and quit yet. I think we're going to see some Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb from him. Maybe even Lumberjack.
Yep.
Meanwhile, AaronDobbe is running around in the Dark World again. Is he headed back to the Kakariko area? I'm not totally sure what he's aiming for here. Maybe it's those same 2 checks.
Could be.
Any chest here for Rywek could put him suddenly in go mode.
Yeah, at this point, it's only the Cane of Samaria. That's the last thing we're looking for.
And an 11th heart container in the King's Tomb for him. Aaron doing these same checks won't be able to do King's Tomb because he hasn't picked up the mitts from Swamp Palace.
Thankfully, he's not going to miss out on a lot. He's already sitting on 12 containers.
And since we've got other ways of accessing all the other potentially mitts-locked stuff, I think this is a mitts-less seat, in terms of requirements at least.
Yeah. Rywek taking his portal here.
Yeah, he hasn't done Paradox.
Right.
He hasn't done Hera. More importantly, at this point, I think, he hasn't done Turtle Rock Laser Bridge, which I'm starting to wonder, is that holding Kane?
It's possible. I was thinking Spike Cave for a minute, but...
Well, the good news is Aaron has escape on his mind. He's checking the back part now. He already picked up a small key from inside the church. So we'll see how much of this he wants to do, and if doing the back prompts him to go to the front and get the mirror.
Yeah, hopefully it does, because otherwise doing the back, especially if he comes back in to do the Dark Cross, will, like, again, make the front of escape even less desirable.
Well, finding the map there at least makes escape slightly more desirable, perhaps. You know, if it doesn't show up, if that Kane doesn't show up on Laser Bridge, we might start seeing something kind of mean. I'm thinking like Kane's hiding somewhere down in Ice Palace, or Kane's sitting on blind and you had to leave the dungeon to come back later. Ugh.
Yeah, I think you go kill blind before you dip ice, just in case. Aaron's finally heading into the front of escape. He will be picking up his mirror shortly.
That is very good news for him.
Rywek finding out that a unique item requires a bomb. Pick one. We've had about 6.
So I have to imagine Aaron gets his mirror out of here and he goes straight into Swamp Palace. Just because that's a crystal and it's got so many items. And I think he knows the left side can be ruled out too.
Yeah, they've both had the hint from either Pod or Spectacle, one of the two.
Now, Rywek's going to get his 6th crystal a bit ahead of that, and that's because Aaron's done a few more overworld checks. So I think part of it's then going to come down to, does Rywek do the same checks we saw Aaron do? In which case they come out even. Alternatively, does Rywek go somewhere else? In which case he probably gets a leg up. He does.
I'm thinking here. I'm thinking here. He just got the last sword hint. He doesn't know about the one inside of the waterfall ferry.
Yep.
Maybe this incentivizes the blacksmith chain, and then he can just go from there into Zora.
I think you're right. That's probably accurate. If he does that before Zora, ooh, falling to Moldorm, not fun. Especially when these pots are, or these crystal switches are up and he can't grab the pots for hearts.
I might use the blue here.
He's very confident in his ability. I mean, I know he can do it without getting hit. But a death here, he's climbing the whole tower again.
Oh, that was close.
Oh, good work staying on the platform. But I think you're right. I think knowing about that sword location might push him over to purple chest on Rywek's side.
Now that's
look at what Aaron's doing.
Yeah, he's going straight over to the Mire area to check this.
This is an interesting play. I think this is kind of covering his tracks. Partly he wants to know the medallion from Mire. Partly he says, Rywek might have picked up that mirror a long time ago. I want to make sure that he didn't dip this dungeon and kind of catch me off guard.
And while Rywek's taking a coffee break, Aaron's going to go ahead and crack Mire open.
And as I said before, I like this dip straight into Mire. For all you know, you'll end up clearing the whole dungeon trying to find the big key anyways. So any items you find along the way are just helping you narrow down your search for that red cane. Aaron does have to watch his health. He's down to 5 hearts walking into Mire, which is not too much given how hard these enemies hit.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the harder hitting dungeons overall, not only because of the Wizrobes, but because of the spikes and all the damage you're going to take for yourself.
Yeah, the game normally would expect you to have blue mail when you make it to this dungeon, which you'd normally pick up in Ice Palace playing vanilla, so the devs just amp up the difficulty of all the enemies to compensate for that.
Alright, so Rywek did Spiral first, so I can only assume that we're about to see Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that would make sense here. Do Spiral Cave, then do Laser Bridge, and if you find the big key, you can knock out Mimic and the big chest in one go.
Rywek with a save and quit, though, before doing any of that. He might be doing... Maybe this is Spike, or maybe he's just going to come the long way.
I'm thinking it must be Spike, since it'd be faster to just dash across the mountain otherwise. And given that he's going back to the Dark World, I'm really thinking Spike. Aaron got his 2 items out of Misery Mire, that being 10 arrows and the blue cane, the blue boomerang, and with that, he is out of there. Although he didn't get the big key, so that could still be in the cutscene chest or on the right.
Alright, so at this point, the cane's got to be... Hammer, Pegs, Blacksmith Chain, Ice, or TR.
That's pretty much it. There are those 2 fetch quests I've had my eye on for a while. One's the mushroom, which I think we got from the old man, and the other is the magic powder sitting on, or rather the magic bat, where the magic powder is on Lake Hylia.
Rywek is looking to make his way for his own Mire Dive. Yep.
Yeah, this'll work. I'm a bit thrown by his routing here. It seems to me that the way to do this would have been make this check right after Swamp Palace, or Desert Palace, and then when you're up on Death Mountain, go into Turtle Rock. And I feel like he's kind of working against those checks, because he's not lumping things together. That adds up to a lot of travel time.
Yeah, I think my play here would have been go into the light world from Kakariko, do the blacksmith chain, and then after you drop off the purple chest, you can just jump in the water and check everything there, pick up your powder, your Zora checks. Mirror over to Catfish, which hasn't been checked.
Yeah, you know, it could be Rywek's, he knows about the sword, but he's just not invested in it right now because he might expect to find one somewhere else in the game. GT often does hold another sword for you. Unfortunately, every bit he walks around with the Master Sword instead of Tempered, he loses a bit of time. I'm curious. Yeah, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I can understand that, but I understand what he's doing here. He's hoping to find the cane in the French vanilla in the dungeon, just so he can get this out of the way and hit go mode. But we've got we got most of TR open. We've got the Zora and blacksmith chain, which is like 9 checks plus a guaranteed sword.
Yeah, well, Rywek gets his second item from Meyer. He is out of there as well. I do have to say I'm a bit perplexed that neither runner hunted down the big key. Just because by the time they got that boomerang, they've already flipped the crystal switches. They've got the dungeon set into a state where they can get that chest on the right. They can get the cutscene chest if they want. And when you leave the dungeon and come back in, you reset a lot of that, which means you're going to have to retread some of that ground.
Yeah, at that point your fastest becomes hitting the crystal switch, basically repeating everything you'd already have done.
Alright, Aaron's in the back of Swamp Palace, gets his big key. I think he just bonked into the wall. And is able to avoid the stair glitch, but Rywek is doing the mushroom check.
If they've had this available the whole time from the mushroom,
he is going to be terrified.
Oh my god, it's the flute.
Okay, so that's... I mean, that's some mobility they were missing out on for a while. Bit of fast travel they would have liked to have.
Yeah, I would be a little bit panicked at that because that's a mobility you've had for an hour.
It's interesting because it's come so late. I'm not sure it's ever worth the time to go activate it now. But at the same time, you see that show up and you go, hang on, did the other runner just go and get that right away? Have they been zipping around the game when I've been walking? It's those kinds of questions at this point in the race when you're one item from go mode. You start evaluating your chances based on what you think your opponent has done, where you think they've gone, and that just throws a wrench into all your plans.
Yeah, you don't ever want to find a missing mobility item on something like a fetch quest you've had sitting for a while or a skip location. Like, Rywek should still have, I think, Ice Rod in the back of his mind that he still hasn't checked that Aaron did.
Yeah, and those are the things that add up over the course of a run when you're one item from go mode. And both runners are now in that situation, both with 6 crystals completed. Pretty much even in terms of their checks at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it's just who's going to find it first and where has it been hiding. Rywek's going to go ahead and come back out, mirror over, check Catfish. Aaron's choice. Looks like he's either going to clean up what little Death Mountain remains, such as Spike Cave, or he's going to be making the TR play.
Oh, Aaron almost got caught by the storytelling ball there. Now this routing works out nicely for Rywek. He finishes Zora, comes out at Lake Hylia. He can do Ice Rod Cave right now. And is he going to head into Ice Palace then? Is he going to get his powder finally?
The routing is not bad. I would have rather he went the other way, checked Hobo and the island first, and did Ice Rod last, because he can go in the portal and then go right over to Kakariko if he wants to check the rest of the overworld that he's missing.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a lot of little checks to chain in together. Now I'm sad he didn't do that.
He still might. He's just gonna have to backtrack after Hobo.
Yeah.
I think Hobo is outstanding too. I don't think it was checked either.
I think you're right. I think Aaron skipped it. Rywek.
Well, it's either Ice Palace or he is doing it, because otherwise he would have grabbed that on the way up, but he knows he's coming back.
I suppose so. So this is where Aaron's earlier route hurts him just a little bit. He didn't have the book when he came up here, so he has to check Ether now instead of earlier. Hobo gives us a piece of heart.
So I have a feeling if Rywek's ends up actually committing to the ice play, that this could become the ice versus TR, who finds it and who win, and who's going to be in the lead based off that.
That is really what it's looking like.
All right, we're coming into TR now.
So, welcome to Inverted Mode Turtle Rock. Aaron's going to start by checking the vanilla big key chest, since he can walk to that without a cane. And then he should be able to make his way up to the Chain Chomp room.
Yeah, he'll backtrack to Chain Chomp, save himself a key, probably go the next room. Actually, won't even bother to go the next room down. Just go to Chain Chomp, check that, mirror back.
Oh, the Pokey gets away from him. Chases it down. Rywek's come upon his first chest in Ice Palace. Well, small key is about the best thing that's not cane that you can find in that chest.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of useless running around. You can just go straight over and check the east side of Ice Palace, all the letters.
Aaron's got to be very careful. A hit from a chomp will take him out. He can't use Burna strats to stay safe the whole time because Burna won't let him hit the switch.
Alright, Rywek getting a hint about the banana stand, Aaron checking his chest, then mirroring out.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for both these runners. I really like their playstyle. I think they're both making valid checks here. I don't want either of them to be wrong.
Maybe they're both wrong.
I kind of want them both to be wrong so that they swap after and then end up in a dead heat at the end. Sorry, guys.
All right, so we have Laser Bridge versus the east side of ice now.
Aaron's got Burn and half magic, so he can just burn through these chests. Big key, small key, red rupee, compass, no red cane. And did you say earlier Rywek would do the letter rooms?
Yeah, this one's an H, the one downstairs is a U.
This one's a P. Yeah, it all works out.
Yeah, then they got iced tea downstairs. This is kind of an I. Now, unfortunately, Aaron did find the big key, so now he has to go back up and around because he now has 2 more checks that he can check from the big chest and the one behind the big key door.
Yeah, that's a lot of back and forth the game is kind of forcing him into here to get the full clear, or I should say the clear as much as possible of Turtle Rock. Rywek still reading hint tiles. Finds out some bombs are with fishes. I think that was the catfish hint?
Yep. Alright, let's check in TR for Aaron.
Just a key.
So TR strikes out. Rywek still has iced tea. And then he has, I believe, Freezor's big chest. And then cold stare. I haven't been counting his items in here, though.
That's right. He does have a bomb jump he has to pull off in the Freezor room right here. If he doesn't get that, it's a little bit of extra walking he has to do to try the bomb jump again. But it looks like he has a really consistent setup here. There we go.
Yeah, that bomb jump's pretty free. Again, more items that are red, but not the ones you're looking for.
Have we had our 3 items from ice yet? I guess not, since Rywek's still running around.
Did he not check the big key chest? He has a big key, right?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. Okay, now he's mirrored out. I think he was just doing a final count of chests, realized I've got my 3 items, and he's done.
So, Ice is a strikeout, TR is a strikeout. For the love of Batman, somebody check the blacksmith.
Or the magic bat. Which, interestingly, Rywek didn't grab the powder for either.
I thought he ran. No, I thought he ran up and grabbed that. I'm like 99% he ran up and grabbed it because he got bodied a little bit by the little electrical guy.
Oh, yeah. And it's on his tracker now. I see it.
I think it's supposed to be gel. Nope, Rywek's going to go get that item off blind first.
Yeah. Now, we did see him skip out of Ice Palace before killing the boss. And that matters because that's the green pendant. I'm thinking he did his count. He realized it had to be a small key on Cold Stare. And if it's a small key on Cold Stare, then that means the game would expect you to have Cane of Samaria to beat the dungeon. Which means Sahasrahla couldn't be holding the cane.
Yes, but if he didn't check the big chest, and I'm not sure that he did, chat may have been able to see that. If the Unless there's some convoluted logic I'm missing, if there's a small key in the big key chest, then it's not Samaria locked?
That wouldn't make sense. I think it only applies to being on
Or
cold
it's on
stare.
blind.
Doesn't matter in this case. Wow.
It's been on blind the whole time.
Nasty, nasty play by this seed. Forcing you to go into Thieves' Town just for the glove, and then come back later with a real weapon when you really don't want to. But that's enough for Rywek to get into go mode.
So Rywek's going to come up here, actually activate his flute, mirror back over, and then flute.
That puts him in a definite lead at this point. Aaron is, I think, on the same path, but a couple minutes behind. And if he wants to stay competitive in this race, Aaron's going to need to head straight to Thieves' Town after this.
Yeah, the upside is he's already cleared out pretty much everything. That would be his first stop before trying to do the Blacksmith Chain in the Light World anyway.
Alright, so there's two chests we haven't seen in Misery Mire that could hold the big key. The cutscene chest on the far left, and the lone chest on the right side that's blocked behind some blue pegs. Where do you think it's going to turn up?
He's going to check the one with the blue pegs first because it's faster. But knowing our luck, it's vanilla.
That sounds about right. And it's definitely faster, but not by a huge amount, unfortunately. The problem is, whichever chest he checks first, it takes a long time to get from there to the other chest. It's not like you can just do one and immediately get to the other. Unfortunately, Rywek's out of small keys at this point, so he can't go by the normal route to get to the boss. He's going to have to duck through the big key door over here. Meanwhile, Aaron is actually fighting Cold Stare.
Yeah, he's fighting Cold Stare for that green pendant. He doesn't want to leave anything behind. Okay, he did have a small key.
Yeah, so if Aaron knows his key logic, which I feel like he does, he won't check Sahasrahla at least.
Yeah, that was really heads up on by Rywek of, you know, just thinking, oh, well, this is cane locked, so this can't be the cane.
Looks like Aaron is going to make the play to Sahasrahla, skipping Hobo. Although there's a nice mirror play you can do here for Hobo. But he's going to skip Hobo, he's going to skip that magic powder pickup. He is all in on this green pendant turn-in.
And it's just a little bit of love.
But Rywek has cleared out that whole basement area of Misery Mire. He's up to Vitreous, and another one of these blink and you miss it boss fights. 9 eyes to take out. They go in 1 silver arrow each. 2 hits to the big eye coming right up. Boom, boom. 11 shots, and Rywek has 7 crystals.
Yeah, absolutely. That means it's time for a little game we play, and this is going to need to be quick. So, get your guesses in. It's the Ganon Tower Big Key guessing game. 1 through 22, where's that big key? If you're a supporter of speed gaming through 250 cumulative bits or a subscription, you've got a chance to be entered on the leaderboard. Get it in quick because this is a save quote away from a GT entrance.
That's right. Now, of course, we are in inverted mode, which means that Ganon's Tower is not in Ganon's Tower. It's in the Castle Tower. Ganon has made his home on top of Hyrule Castle, and that's why Rywek is headed back to the Light World and back to the castle area.
Alright, Aaron's cleaning up his other locations, finally getting in here to check King's Tomb that he had those mitts.
Oh, and Aaron needs to go left, but he is going right. He is going to do that mushroom trade-in. Or not?
He just realized he forgot Hobo, probably.
That's right, there is a cool mirror play he can do here, but Rywek has entered the tower. We're going to stop that guessing game. We're going to see what's the first two chests here.
Cape, small key, looks like we're going to go right.
And you know what? Half magic just makes this basement go so nicely. All these Gibdos that take so much time to kill with a sword, you just spam the fire rod, you don't worry about them in the slightest. There's that shovel we knew was going to be in Ganon's tower.
We should immediately go check that, I think. And there's the big key.
No time for shovel checks. We've got a tower to climb. I believe that was chest number 6.
Absolutely.
So a very quick Ganon's tower. Rywek aided by his choice to go right when he got that small key. And he is going to do this climb that, as long as he can, you know, stick to the usual strategies, he should have no trouble with this.
Alright, congratulations to Huff is Real with the first person to be there with the correct guess.
You know, I say that, and then Rywek seemed to get a bit out of alignment in the Mimic Room. Based on his movements, he might have gotten thrown off by some of that silver arrow lag. Takes a fair amount of damage. We might see him bonk over to the safety room up here.
Yeah, I can definitely see bonking to the safety room, unless you're a little bit worried because of that K location.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the question. You wonder at this point. How does Rywek feel about his position? Does he think he's ahead? Does he think that that cane on blind just destroyed him?
The blacksmiths were shieldsmiths today.
That's kind and not very helpful of them.
Unfortunately, Aaron's going to clean up these before going back into Thieves. And let's see what we would have got cursed with today. Just some ammunition.
Rywek just look around on the ice just a bit, but he is through. Nice dash to get that Zazax as he's headed through the rest of the gauntlet. We're going to see another very fast Landmo 2 fight, I expect. Ooh. Except that fireball gets him. And we're past that first cycle.
Nice on the 2 cycle, though.
That was a that was a very good recovery, which can be hard to do once you're kind of off your sync in that room.
Alright, I think Aaron's put 2 and 2 together, and sure enough, he's going to head back in to kill Blind and pick up the blind man's cane.
Now, 15 hearts, tempered sword, powder for a fairy if you really need it at the top of the dungeon, half magic. These guys are well equipped. Rywek gets to do this in kind of NMG plus gear, doing a climb that he's done hundreds of times, but with a little bit extra room for error. This is a good position to be in.
Aaron's going to go ahead and whip out the Can of Burner. Fell a little low on the heart count. Alright. And down goes Blind. Aaron's going to go ahead and pick up the blind man's cane, the hooligan that he is.
That'll put him in go mode, but it is not going to be enough at this point. Rywek has reached the Moldarm 2 fight. Moldarm really did not want to get hit there. Just would not face his tail to Rywek, but there we go.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't playing nicely at all this seed. Either 1 or 2 on the Moldorms.
I'm still impressed by that second Moldorm 1 fight Rywek did, because I was worried there. He was at 1 heart.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that could have made a significant difference having to reclimb Hera. That's 3.
Nice triple. And mean blue balls from Aga 2, preventing any hits on that 3rd cycle. I think Rywek's got 1 more hit to get now.
And down goes Aga 2, just a pig to go. Wizrobe's giving Aaron some trouble here.
Alright, so Rywek goes for the spin attack off of the Trident, doesn't get it. He's going to be doing a couple extra cycles in this Ganon fight. But now he's through phase 1, and he's just going to cape his way through phase 2. He's got the magic to spare, so he can just do 12 hits, not worry about getting hit, and still be fine for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, he's got 2 blues on him, and so he'll be fine.
In this case, the act of using the cape, switching over to it, is so much faster than letting Ganon do another cycle in the room. You just don't mess around. Ooh, misses a silver arrow shooting to the left by accident. Doesn't get the torch glitch, but again, plenty of magic to just fire rod his way through this.
Maybe 3?
Not quite. So close.
But happens to get that last one, and down goes the pig.
Great work by Rywek. Some good routing, some really clutch execution to pull this off.
Gonna cross threshold, hold up his Triforce, and Rywek will be done in first place with a time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 10 seconds. GG to Rywek.
Well done. And to think, that Cane of Samaria was available so early, and yet not available early enough for these runners. Forced double dip of Pendant Thieves Town in inverted mode. Not what you hope to see. We are joined by Rywek, though. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you very much.
So, what'd you think of that scene?
Not pleasant. Just generally unpleasant. And I kept making mistakes towards the end because I was getting so tired. This is my third race today, after all.
I was going to say, that's quite the gauntlet of runs you've been doing.
In 9 days, I'll have done 11 matches.
Yeah, that's a few.
Yeah, that's just a little bit, just a couple. Very reasonable.
So I have to ask, when you got the cane off of blind, was that the moment where you felt like you were gonna win this, or did that make you go, oh no, I've just lost?
I thought I just lost. Honestly, like, there wasn't much left. Like, it took me forever to get back here, and it was such an easy check. Like, you could have gone back in so many times. Like, so you just went by, like, and when I got it, I'm like, well, I just better move my butt and try and go fast.
Well, you were certainly able to do that, and you did pull off a very nice Ganon's Tower gauntlet climb and stuff.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. Once I was up to Moldorm 2, like Trolldorm 2, yeah, I started thinking, wait, did my opponent not find the Cane of Samaria? But I realized after I was completely done and Ganon was beat, and then I pulled up like the restream here, I made a huge mistake that I did not realize until right afterwards.
And what was that?
I completely forgot that you can get into Turtle Rock without the red cane.
And here I thought that was a deliberate routing strategy, a deliberate avoidance.
Nope, that was just me messing up.
That, every so often it happens that you forget about an area, you don't need to go there, and it really works out in your favor.
Honestly, it was just a bit of luck and me being tired. If me being tired for a race makes me win, I think I'm gonna take it.
Fair enough. So, you talked about what you were feeling during the Moldorm 2 fight. How tense was the Moldorm 1 fight for you after that fall you took and being on one heart? We saw you neglect to take a blue potion when I think a lot of people would have for safety.
Like, when it comes to playing the game, playing Randomizer, there's being cautious and being confident, and I was just confident, you know what, I can do this. I could have taken the blue potion, but I'd rather save it, and honestly, I felt like I could do it. It was just one simple mistake. Just be a little careful, and I'll be fine.
Well, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I can do it. And it's another thing to actually follow through on that. So well done, because, I think we've all been in that situation where you say, I can do this fight. I've done this fight without getting hit before, and then it doesn't quite work. So good job keeping your cool there.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Looking back kind of at how this seed played out, it was interesting. Obviously, things were quite linear at the start. You guys were about 90 seconds apart all the way through pod.
Wow.
Aaron skipped Skull Woods, and that was about it. I should say even through pod and Eastern. And it was at that point, Aaron went up the mountain, and you went into escape. And for a long time in this race, we were worried about Aaron not having the mirror.
Yeah.
And-
Well, when it came to the mirror, I always thought that Aaron had chosen specifically the sword on the uncle, the assured sword, so that he could go through, because that's what you kind of do when you get into inverted. You get to the light world, you do a few checks, you go through the castle all the way through to the sanctuary. And I thought, well, I better do it now. I put it off long enough. But I thought that's what he would be doing.
You know, it's funny. I think we all thought he was going to do that too. And so we were a bit shocked when he didn't. And that led to some big divergence. He was up in Death Mountain. He was doing Tower of Hera. He got much later boots in comparison. And yet, it all evened out. You guys got your 6th crystals not too far off from each other. In entirely different orders. And it was just this big split of who's going to track down Red Keen first.
When it's like that for the last half hour of the race, like, who's going to find it? Like, it's all up in the air. Like, it's less about skill and all about luck, I guess.
At that point, it did feel like it was a bit down to luck, but I think that speaks to some similarities in skill between the two of you, that, you know, you can finish 6 crystals, be at the same point in the race with the same stuff left to go. You guys certainly gave us a race. We were always guessing about who was in first, who was trailing, and it was never anyone by much.
No. Aaron and I certainly have the exact same skill level. Like, when it comes to execution, that I feel like he and I are pretty equal. Like, when we look at like past matches and all that stuff, like we're like, he's either right in front or I'm rather where I am. It's just really, really close.
Yeah, and in that respect, I'm a bit sad that you guys got so much gear, because you didn't get a chance to show off a lot of low percent plays or anything like that. You had everything. You just went as fast as you could, and it did make for interesting routing stuff, because that's, I think, what set you two apart here.
So where's my opponent now?
Aaron has made his way up the tower. He's just entering Moldorm 2 in a second here.
Don't fall.
Yeah, you guys just put on a heck of a show. It all really just came down to, after that 6th crystal, you made the Ice Palace play, Aaron made the TR play, but then made Ice Palace after clearing out everything he could in TR, whereas you ended up going to the blind first.
On that note, we saw you skip out of Ice Palace without beating Cold Stare. Can you walk us through that? Because we have some theories, but we want you to confirm it for us.
I'm gonna guess that the most popular theory is that I goofed. I did a Willard. But honestly, it's like when I got down to the bottom, and then I realized, you know what? It's a 50-50 chance that Cold Stare has a key. I'm going to gamble on that 50-50 chance, meaning that this place is, well, it's a Mario locked. And worst case scenario, I'll come back later.
Okay. See, that was the thought initially. But we knew you couldn't know for sure that it was a key. So
that's right.
It's good to know that was a calculation of 50-50 that it's even going to lead to something in logic. So you had your 3 items at that point?
Yep. At that point, I had my 3 items. There was only the map and a small key left. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to risk it. And I left.
I mean, that certainly saved you a couple minutes doing both the boss fight and then the pendant check. Aaron ended up doing both those. Also was a bit later to blind anyways. But he has entered the Ganon fight right now. I want to see how he pulls this off. Looks like he gets the 1 cycle on phase 1. With Ganon being at the very bottom of the room, not opting for that cape strat you used. So we're gonna see a 2 cycle on phase 2, I think. Never mind, he powered through that.
Yeah, he just went ahead and took the brute force, took the 4 hearts of damage a couple times on the bats.
And Ganon's standing right in the center of the room. Gets 2 arrows. Aaron has 2 arrows left, but he gets the final one on Ganon. So that'll work out for him. He is going to finish this seed.
Yep, absolutely great pick, great kill on the pig there. 1 cycle phase 1 and 2. He's going to go ahead and cross through and officially finish with an SRL in second place of 1 hour 55 and 56 seconds. GG Aaron as well.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get him in here to chat as well. But as we said before, this is one of those races where both runners really know what they're doing with the game, and you really get to see some good bits of execution. So if you liked what you saw, be sure to give these runners a follow. And we are joined by AaronDobbe. GG on that.
Hey, thank you. GG, Rywek.
GG, Aaron.
So, Aaron, I imagine you caught some of that as you were waiting for the delay. Turtle Rock over Ice Palace was kind of your first big coin flip decision that you made. What prompted you to go for Turtle Rock?
Yeah, Turtle Rock, like, one, I knew it wasn't the green pendant, so I knew I wasn't going to be fighting a boss that way. I feel like there was potentially more items there, depending on where things fell. Because obviously there were chests I wasn't getting to, but there's still 5 in the dungeon, so if the laser bridge was nice, maybe I would find some more stuff there. Turns out, not really. And then, yeah, I could also grab the Ether tablet while I was there, so that was another item on that side. I don't know, I felt good about that decision. I wish I had routed Turtle Rock a little better. I kind of accidentally jumped down the wrong ledge at one point.
So your intention was laser bridge first before the big chest entrance?
Yeah. That was what I intended to do, but just sort of had a minor deficiency of the brain there and jumped down the wrong one and knew that I had made a mistake as I was in midair.
I think we can all relate to having done that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as we were saying, this was a really fun race to watch just because of the divergence we saw, and then to see you converge around the time you both got a 6th crystal. Was there ever a point for either of you where you thought about doing the smith chain just because you knew there was a sword at the end?
Oh, quite the opposite.
Yeah,
I was
same.
not doing the smith chain because I knew there was a sword there.
And I was the exact same way. It's like, oh, there's a sword at the end? I'm never going to do that.
So even had it been, tempered sword before you, or while you were still on Master Sword, there was no interest in upgrading there?
I mean, in that case, maybe I would have, but I had found the tempered sword just by clearing out dungeons, so I was like, eh.
That's right. You did end up on tempered a little earlier, Aaron.
I was still on Master Sword, but I still was not tempted because, I'll figure it out later. I just need to get another sword at some point. Maybe I'll Master Sword Ganon if I have.
Fair enough. I suppose when the game dumps silvers in your lap in the first few minutes, swords aren't too important. You're not going to need tempered for, say, a vitreous fight.
Yeah, exactly. And even Master Sword Silver Ganon is not that bad.
Yeah.
Man, I think the most frustrating thing about this seed is that if the flute was somewhere else, somewhere much easier to get to, I would have definitely fought blind a lot earlier. Because by the time that I was looking for the cane, I had done pretty much everything around there, and it was never naturally in the area. So if I had the flute, I would have at some point just fluted to 3 and taken out blind, but it didn't work that way.
You're telling me that the witch's hut in inverted is not an easy spot to get to?
Ooh, it is definitely not.
Yeah.
Especially after I got the hint that told me that catfish was useless. Like, why would I be going over there?
Oh, I missed that. That explains a little bit.
Yeah, because I had gotten the blue rupee from Zora, and I got another hint later that said some bombs are held with the fishes. So, it's either Zora or catfish, and then obviously catfish had some bombs.
So, what do you guys already have your next races scheduled? Rywek, I know you were in the midst of a really deep just marathon you've got going in races, but Aaron, do you have one scheduled as well?
Not yet. This is the last race of a string of several that I had scheduled, so I'm gonna need to be talking with my group about the rest of these.
I'm just looking at your group standings here. I see In the Name of DT sitting on a 9 and 4. With Vivi on a 7 and 3, and both of you at 5 wins after this race, if that's correct. So this group could go many different ways.
4-way tie. Come on.
Let's do it. Oh man.
It's 2v2 this. You and DT versus me and Vivi.
Perfect. Yeah, so at 9 matches down, we got 6 to go. It's going to be interesting. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen.
It's certainly a group I'm going to keep my eyes on. Not just because I know some of the people in it, but because those numbers are some of the more intriguing numbers in the tournament. I'm not going to lie, I'm hoping for a bit of a tiebreaker.
No.
Hey, you just asked for one.
I didn't say I was going to win one. I said I want to do one. A good 2v2.
Yeah, tiebreakers are fun. I would not be sad at all about it if it happened that way. Again, not saying I'm super confident about winning in a tiebreaker, but it would be fun.
So in a tiebreaker, do we all get a veto?
I'm not sure about all of that. We go through so many iterations of the rules. I need to look at the document to remember what we settled on at the end. But whichever way it plans out, that'd be exciting. But
Sure.
in all seriousness, best of luck to the both of you,
Thank you.
in your remaining group stages. Any final words for tonight from either of the runners?
I'm hungry. I'm going to get some Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, I need to crack open a cold one and just relax for the rest of the night. I am spent. But thank you everyone for watching, and thank you to the commentators and tracker.
Yeah, thanks to Shandis for being the tracker for this race. And thanks to Demon RHK for joining me. Thanks for waiting around a couple minutes, man, before I actually got here.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much for joining me, finally.
All right. In that case, I think we will wrap things up. There's probably some more matches on Speed Gaming tonight, including one on Speed Gaming 4, Zyrak versus Bonta, that started 6 minutes ago. And another one in about an hour and a half on Speed Gaming 2, Fantalis versus Glan. Those are some good names. I'm going to go watch some Randomizer. Demon RHK, I'll let you sign off. Good night, everyone.
Oh, absolutely. Again, thank you all for joining us, our runners, Tracker, Phylon for joining me as well. We got some links in chat for you. Follow both the runners, follow my co-com, follow our Tracker. Everyone did a great job here. Go check out these other races. You just got one you got started on. You can get caught up in about 30 seconds. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.